CBC This Week. I'm Evans Chilandani Mutanshi. The headlines. Dairy Association of Zambia, DAS, says it's working to fight against weak governance. Minister of Energy Permanent Secretary Brigadier General Imelda Chola has admitted that the low access rate to electricity, both in urban and rural areas of Zambia, is not rewarding. We have news from the courts, business and sports after the break. I'll be back shortly. In our first story, Dairy Association of Zambia says it is working to fight against weak governance and lack of transparency in the management of water in the Kafue floods. DAS President Miriam Mazima says a total number of 28 trainings were conducted in 2016 in various management aspects by the Dairy Association of Zambia and its collaboration partners.
It's meant that the industry itself suffered in terms of doing business. Most of our clients, the small scale in particular, had borrowed in terms of the animals that they are used for business. And such they had a challenge of making repayments with their loans. But also the bigger business houses suffered the same because the interest rates went as high as 35%. And the exchange rate as well kept on fluctuating between 9.8 and 11.4. So this was quite a hindering issue in terms of making progress within the industry.
In other news, Minister of Energy Permanent Secretary Brigadier General Imelda Chola has admitted that the low access rate to electricity, both in urban and rural areas of Zambia, is not rewarding. General Chola says that according to the Living Conditions, a monitoring survey report of 2015 disseminated by the Central Statistics Office, CSO, only 25% of the urban population in Zambia has access to electricity. This came to light at the official opening of the Second General Assembly and 13th Annual Meeting for the African Association Rural Electrification starting from 4th September to 8th September 2017 in Lusaka.
It is a second General Assembly of African Association for Rural Electrification with a group of distinguished delegates from different countries, supported by Alliance for Rural Electrification, Africa-EU Energy Partnership, among others, hosted by Rural Electrification Authority from 4th September to 8th September 2017 in Lusaka at Pamosi Hotel. Assistant Secretary of COMESA for Programs, Dr. Kipyengo Shelogat, made clear to the audience that energy is and will always be one of the key ingredients for production, and yet Africa remains with underdeveloped energy infrastructure. The guest of honor, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy, Brigadier General Imelda Chola, gave an overview of energy situation in Zambia with particular reference to electricity.
Much of the power in Zambia is operated by ZESCO, the National Electricity Utility Company. The country expects to bring on board an additional 2,000 megawatts of hydro and thermal power by 2017. In terms of energy mix, Zambia has abundant renewable and non-renewable.
And ZESCO on 1st September 2017 effected the electricity tariff increment to 75%, a development which has saddened some residents in Lusaka.
ZESCO mwandi awe vachiramo pa first May vanarundirako futi apa 1st September valundireko malaiti. Already this time tivuti katika kula malaiti ya 50 kwacha tisevensache for 2 days nishiasira kudala. Then by kireko 75% nishti tienda kuti chalo ziko yatu yenda kuti manji hapa.
And then if they increase to 75%, what are we going to do? If you buy for 100 kwacha already hapa so yasila, we are looking at teach the vambili na malait. You know malait, you can't survive without power. How much multiply? So if you can just, instead of you, at least mubwezeko pass. I don't need that one.
But Brigadier General Chola hopes that the increment is a milestone which will motivate private sector investments in mean grids development and the entire electricity sub-sector in Zambia. Meanwhile, the Permanent Secretary took time to highlight developmental challenges of access to modern energy in rural areas.
By the population, especially those in the rural areas. This is because rural electrification in Zambia, like in many other developing countries in Africa, is largely a social program whose investment cost is quite huge. The low access rate to electricity both in urban and rural areas of Zambia is not gratifying.
The discussions for this year's Second General Assembly and the 30th Annual Meeting for the African Association Rural Electrification will be centered on sustainable rural electrification tariffs for main grids. Pamela Mulenga, CBC News, Lusaka.
A news coming from the court said Darius Ijonia reports that the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, entered a nolle prosequi in the case involving UPND President Hakainde Hichilema's Deputy Press Secretary Brian Mwinga and others. And Magistrate Fridays Hamaundu has since discontinued the case and set the accused free.
Following several adjournments and a setback by state prosecutors before commencement of trial, the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, has entered a nolle prosequi in accordance with Article 81 of the Criminal Procedure Code in this matter. This is in a case in which Deputy Press Aide to UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema, Brian Mwinga, Party National Youth Spokesperson Gilbert Ruswaniso, and 8 other UPND supporters were facing charges of criminal obstruction for allegedly blocking police officers from arresting Hakainde Hichilema at his residence in New Kasama on 10th April 2017 on a charge of treason, which has since entered into a nolle prosequi. In passing ruling on Monday morning, Magistrate Fridays Hamaundu discontinued the case and ordered the police officers to give back all the seized items in respect to all the accused persons. Darius Ijonia, CBC News.
Emmanuel Malakwashabi reports that Commerce and Industry Permanent Secretary Kayiola Siame says government of the Republic of Zambia has embarked on industrialization agenda by facilitating the increased investment in the energy sector. Mrs. Siame was speaking during the official opening of the second technical and ministerial Commerce meetings on industrialization at Commerce Secretariat.
The aim of the tripartite in the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa is to create a single market for the region. This is through the amalgamation of the COMESA and Southern Africa Development Community, SADC Free Trade Areas, and the East African Community Customs Union. COMESA was established in 1994, followed by a successful implementation of the wider Preferential Trade Area initiated in 1981 as part of the wider African Union agenda to liberalize trade in the region. COMESA Secretary General Sindisi Ngwenya has urged the COMESA member states to solve problems the small-scale cross-border traders are going through, following the introduction of the simplified trade regime. Mr. Ngwenya, speaking at the opening of the second of the Technical Ministerial Committee meeting, which began on Monday, says countries like Mauritius and Rwanda have improved in their economies and are now competing with other countries in the region.
But currently, out of the 700,000 jobs in Chile, 40% of those jobs are from local content policy in terms of supply, not only for Chile, but also supplying all those companies. In the case of Zambia, I looked at the statistics of procurement by the mining companies for 2015. 2015, on average, procurement by the mining companies for Zambia is $3 billion. But because we don't have a strong local content policy, the local supplies are less than $150 million from companies. So if again you look at it and you have got the right policies, and we don't have to invent, and this applies to most of the countries that are sitting here, then you'll be able to see that yes, we can do it. So I'm saying yes, you look at the local content policy, but go beyond it. Let us look at the best practices, and let's also see how it has been done.
Guest of honor from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Permanent Secretary Sia Mekayula, notes that the 7th National Development Plan was launched to create a diversified and resilient economy for sustained growth and socio-economic transformation driven. Ms. Kayula says Zambia is among the basic founder members of COMESA that supports the implementation, COMESA integration and other programs.
Practical recommendations that will help us all at the national level, because we're all coming from different countries, but also feeding into the regional level. And I think we all have one vision in terms of industrialization, and that's what we're all feeding into. So I'm hoping that all of us here today can take that very, very seriously in the next 2 days, so that as we feed into what the ministers will be looking at in terms of recommendations, we can make that process much, much easier if we ourselves are very, very clear, I think very, very practical, and very, very action-oriented. I think, as you know, we are not comfortable by being told that Africa remains the poorest and most vulnerable region in the world, as stated by the UNGA. I think it's about time we stop listening to this as being what we are and move away from that.
The PS was speaking during the official opening of the second technical and ministerial COMESA meetings on industrialization, which began on Monday 4th and ends on 8th September 2017 in Lusaka. The cost and downtime by small-scale cross-border traders when dealing with the documents to enable them pay little or no custom duties and lack of knowledge of the benefits of trading with other COMESA countries are perhaps some of the challenges cross-border traders are going through and need to be administered by SADC, EAC and COMESA to thresh the humps. For CBC News, Himano Mulakwashapi in Lusaka.
And Matthews Mateo Ndandula reports the Muslim Society Trust donated meat to the sick at Ganyama First Level Hospital this week, as they celebrated the sacrifice that Abraham did. This attracted the presence of the area member of parliament for Ganyama constituency and the Lusaka district commissioner.
Muslim Society Trust donated meat to the sick at Kanyama First Level Clinic as they celebrate the sacrifice of Abraham. Dr. Wilson Mbewe expressed his happiness on the love of the Muslims they showed.
That you considered us for this great gesture. I think we've got a very good working relationship with the Honorable, and she's always coming through for us at greater needs. As you may be aware, I think Kanyama used to be Kanyama First Level Hospital was a clinic, but now we've actually upgraded to a hospital, and even our services have actually improved. So the reason why you are standing like this is because we used to have a conference room, but unfortunately, because we've got limited bed space, we thought it's not in order for us to be sitting when our patients have got nowhere to be nursed. So we converted our boardroom into a ward. So we've got a surgical ward, male ward is done, but the female one is still in progress.
Kanyama Member of Parliament Elizabeth Piri was the guest of honor.
That they are coming to make this donation. It is really, putting the word of God into practice. Many are the people that preach about God, but they don't do what God does. God is providing unto us every day, and it is us as human beings who should do, expose God, who He is, to those that haven't yet known Him. And by being a faith-based organization, especially to our brothers who have traveled all the way from Europe to come and celebrate the acts of our forefather Abraham, it is a blessing to us to see that people can sacrifice their resources, time, and beat the distance. It is not easy. It takes a heart of God to think of the vulnerable communities like ours.
Also present at the event was Lusaka District Commissioner.
And what is even more important is the fact that we are dealing with a group of people called the Muslim Social and Welfare Trust, whom we've been dealing with for so long. Because we are aware that the suffering does not only affect people here in Lusaka, but everyone else in the outskirts. They have provided the hampers, they have provided meal in Linda. Yes. Yeah.
The deaf and the aged also benefited from this special gift. Reporting for CBC News, I'm Matthews Ndandula in Lusaka.
Mr. Chilofya is back in the news this week again. This time, the APP president has bemoaned the escalating levels of corruption among the Zambia police traffic officers who are in the habit of mounting unnecessary roadblocks. Mr. Tayali has challenged the Inspector General of Police, Kakuma Ganganja, to resign, for he has failed to maintain discipline and order among his officers.
Many of us have seen how the police officers just jump out from nowhere and get into the road and mount a roadblock. I don't know which rule they use to mount roadblocks in the manner that they usually do. I don't think that is, those roadblocks are gazetted. Remember when the Minister of Home Affairs spoke about roadblocks, he actually did point out a number of places where roadblocks are supposed to be mounted. But our police, they just come up from nowhere and mount these roadblocks. And when they mount these roadblocks, they never fell short of, impounding certain vehicles. A number of vehicles are impounded for one reason or the other. Sometimes it's like you can't just pass them when they mean business. They will definitely find something to charge you with. And the fines that they charge are a lot of money. You'll find that, a charge is about 80 kwacha and going up. But that money doesn't go to government. Doesn't go to government because the police up to now still depends on the treasury.
And in health news, Oswald Gabungo reports that Chawama Constituency Ward 2 Councillor Leonard Sikombe expressed happiness on the progress of works being done on the expansion of the maternity wing at Chawama Main Hospital. And Chawama residents, especially mothers, are so very happy.
The expansion of work at Chawama Main Hospital maternity wing has advanced with about 95% of work done. The expansion of work, which started in February 2017, is scheduled to be handed over in October 2017. Commenting on the progress, Chawama Ward 2 Councillor Leonard Sikombe says he is very happy at the pace at which the work is moving. He further says the expansion of the maternity wing will save a noble work to the communities as it will decongest the existing wing, which is often crowded.
The expansion of the clinic has come at a time when we really need this, because you do realize that Chawama Clinic has been catering for a lot of constituencies. Find that people from Kanyama were coming to Chawama, part of John Lengi coming to Chawama, Kawata constituency, that's as the Jack compound, Kamala South, were coming to this facility. But we are happy that the expansion is being done and it is helping so much to decongest. The expansion of this clinic is being done by two people, two groupings. The first one, it came through UNICEF, that is under the Millennium Development Goals. The other one, which is being done in the front, is coming through JICA. So there is a speed of work that is being done there. We really appreciate with the cooperating partners that are cooperating with the government, together with the government, the MPs and His Excellency, to see that people of Chawama can benefit heavily to this facility. It is a facility that we feel that it caters for almost every age group, the aged, the young, and it caters every age group. Otherwise, we are hoping for the maternity. it must be ready in the next 2 months maximum. That's what the contractors indicated. Otherwise, they're moving at a lightning speed. We really appreciate, on my own behalf, and on behalf of the people of Chawama Wadi 2, we appreciate what the government is doing.
Meanwhile, Chawama residents have expressed excitement following the expansion of the maternity wing, adding that the old building was not enough, and they have since appealed to the government to furnish the facility with all necessities to avoid referrals.
Ise komonga ichamene batiletera pa chani stinga kambe ise ngome maikambira ise timakamba ati favor ngome timakambira so nise ukondwela maningi kuti batiletera pafupi but dandalo chavya metinga danda ulise tifuna tireke vija vopendelewa kuti wamimbe anamba duka ni anamba chani aende ku UTH yachite kubanji ise tifuna vose kusisirira pamene apa noti kuti chita kwe shani fair kwenda ku UTH sense wakondwela kutiletera ichi koma tifuna chape pamene tifuna naise bazitichitira pamene apa nise wakondwela kuti vachikulisa vatiganizira naise tonga ziko
tuletotela bantu wafuirisho bwafuma kulilesa so ichi chikulwa walapanga chakwafuirisho omuntu uli wonse so tuletotela mwani tuli panji chapo.
The expansion of maternity wing are being carried out by Chinese company Kamland Construction. Kambungo Oswald, CBC News.
Back to politics, Pamela Mulenga reports that some political parties expressed concern at the recent demonstrations against the finance minister and MMD faction leader Felix Mutati. UPPP national spokesperson Philip Matavu added his voice that the demonstrations are clear indications that the PF is reaping what it sowed, saying that this requires high-level intervention, especially by President Edgar Lungu, to bring it to an end.
Last week, the Patriot Front members demanded for the resignation of Finance Minister Felix Mutati through a petition to President Edgar Lungu. And the Patriot Front members in Eastern Province presented the petition to the Secretary General David Simwila, who received it and accompanied by some party officials. Later, the Patriot Front youths of Kasama and Kabwe respectively demonstrated against the resignation of Mr. Mutati as Finance Minister. The development has therefore raised a lot of concern by some political parties, good governance activists, as well as the youth, who have questioned the alliance between the Patriot Front and the MMD.
I think that what is happening in the Patriotic Front and MMD alliance is a clear picture of what is likely to happen when you decide to come up with an alliance of convenience without involving grassroots stakeholders, for example, because we don't know exactly what it is that was agreed in the alliance between the MMD and the Patriotic Front. It is very possible that the alliance demanded that key positions of government in the Patriotic Front be given to the MMD as a way.
Groomed way with politics expected to see this coming. In the way Mr. Mutati fought Mr. Nevas Mumba or Pastor Nevas Mumba, that is the way Mr. Mutati now they want to fight him. So when you fight people, politicians should know, when you fight people using politics, people fight you using politics. This is what is happening to Mr. Mutati. And Mr. Mutati is not the caliber of the person who can be driven in such a scenario, or we would say in such a situation, putting him, this is all is going to imbalance Mr. Mutati now. What is happening? Okay? It is going to affect him. It is also going to affect his performance, affect the economy.
But some concerned Zambians whom CBC News talked to and shuns the camera say that the Patriot Front is just uncomfortable, that should the economy improve, that may be attributed to Mr. Mutati, not to PF. And Zambians for Empowerment and Development spokesperson Wesley Miyanda is of the view that the demonstrations by PF members against Mr. Mutati must not be tolerated by well-meaning Zambians. To that effect, President Edgar Lungu has not responded to the petition from his members. Pamela Mulenga, CBC News, Lusaka.
Back to the courts, Darius Ijonia reports once again that wife to UPND Chilanga lawmaker Keith Mugata shunned journalists from filming her after attending court proceedings in a case in which her husband and his co-accused Chamina Musonda are facing charges of murdering a security guard at their law firm on 6th May 2017. In this case, both are accused persons are pleading not guilty.
Two witnesses have testified in a case in which Chilanga UPND lawmaker Keith Mukata and his co-accused Chamaine Msonda stand charged of murdering their security guard Namakambwa Kalilakwenda during the midnight of 6th May 2017. The first witness, Collins Chola, 39 years, a friend to the deceased and security guard of a Latitude Advertisement Company, a company next to Keith Mukata's law firm in Lusaka's Roadspark area, told the court in his testimony that around 1930 hours with the deceased, the accused person Keith Mukata, who was at the time in his office with his co-accused Chamaine Msonda, came out and gave them 100 kwacha each for their supper. Thereafter, around 23:30 hours after they separated with the deceased, heard 3 gunshots deriving from Mr. Mukata's law firm, as well as Mr. Mukata's voice shouting that his guard has been shot. He later asked his friends who were nearby if they too had heard the gunshots, who affirmatively confirmed but were interrupted to check where the deceased was shot as police officers quickly arrived at the scene and later picked up the body, which was covered in blood. The second witness, who is a brother to the deceased, in his testimony told the court that he noticed a big hole in his brother's neck with clothes full of blood on the day that he went to identify him at the University Teaching Hospital. Wife to the accused, the Maliko Mukata, who on Thursday attended the court proceedings, shunned journalists from filming her. Darius Ijonia, CBC News.
Back to the courts and on the musical note as we wind up. Renowned Zambian musician Shadrack Mumba, popularly known as Mumbayachi, pleaded not guilty to 3 charges that have been slapped on him. In the first count, it is alleged that Shadrack Chitem Kenge, also known as Shadrack Mumba, a Congolese national, on a non-death pact between 1st January 2017 and 28th August 2017 in Lusaka, did enter Zambia through Mokambo border control and continue to stay unlawfully in the country without a valid permit or authority from Immigration Department. And in the second count, it is alleged that the accused person on a non-death but between 1st January 2015 and 6th March 2015 in Lusaka, unlawfully and with intent to deceive and for purposes of obtaining a green national registration card, number 405730/10/1, did give false information to a public officer stating that his father and mother were Zambian citizens when in fact not. While in the third count, Mumbayachi on a non-death but between 6th March 2015 and 3rd August 2016 at the National Registration and Citizenship Office in Dola, Copperbelt, willfully with intent to deceive and for purposes of obtaining a Zambian passport number ZM550035, did make a false statement to a passport officer stating that his father and mother were Zambian citizens when in fact not.
Nigabulanka shinebo defuluka tatana mayobo kulya kumokambo wishiwa musukupala no uchi bifisongole imbalala no tunkubyo.
That's it this week on CBC This Week. Thanks for watching. I'm Evans London Motanshi. Bye-bye.